America, just as the Department of Justice starts an investigation on Ilhan Omar's mysterious $44 million fortune, some guy rushes at her at a town hall and sprays her with, I don't know, something. It looks completely staged to me. If somebody sprayed you with some type of unknown substance, would you immediately go back to the microphone and finish your speech? It could be acid, it could be anything, but she doesn't even hesitate. She just walks back up there like nothing even happened.
Worth more than $44 million. Time will tell all.
Of course, they'll try to frame this as an attack on Somalis. Same tired playbook, convenient timing when Trump just ordered investigations into how she went leaving Somalia with not a dollar, nothing, zero, to being worth $44 million. What is up, guys? Tyson DeLaCruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. I'm going to break down why this attack looks so suspicious, what the DOJ is really investigating, and how Omar's husband's company went from worthless, zero, to $30 million overnight. Let me walk you through what happened at this Minneapolis town hall, because the more that you look at it, the more questions you have. A man rushes on stage with his arms extended, sprays something through a syringe at Ilhan Omar, and immediately gets tackled. Security was right there, almost like that they were expecting something to happen. Now watch this part very, very carefully. After getting sprayed with some type of unknown substance, Ilhan Omar walks towards the man like she's gonna do something. Then she immediately returns to the podium to finish her speech. No medical check, no concern about what she was sprayed with, just right back to talking. I gotta tell you guys, if somebody sprayed me with something out of a syringe, I am not finishing my speech. I'm getting checked out. It's just what it is. It could be acid, it could be a chemical weapon, it could be anything. But Ilhan Omar acts like somebody just threw water on her.
I'm okay. I'm a survivor, so this small agitator isn't going to intimidate me from doing my work. It continues. I don't let bullies win. Grateful to my incredible constituents who rallied behind me. It ends with Minnesota strong.
Very dramatic here, Ilhan Omar. Very theatrical, almost like it was scripted. All jokes aside, I'm glad she didn't get hurt. I don't want anybody to get hurt. But this whole thing looks absolutely staged to me. The timing is a little too perfect. The response seemed a little too rehearsed. And the media coverage is obviously a little too coordinated. Now let me show you what was happening right before this quote-unquote attack, because that's the real story she doesn't want you to focus on.
President Trump posted on Truth Social, quote, "I am sending Tom Homan to Minnesota tonight."
Trump just announced he's sending Tom Homan to Minnesota and launching a major investigation into Ilhan Omar's finances. He's connecting her massive $20 billion welfare fraud scheme in Minnesota, and he's asking some obvious questions. How did she leave Somalia with absolutely nothing to being worth $44 million?
Investigation into Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar after her net worth spiked by nearly $30 million in just a year.
Her net worth nearly spiked $30 million in 1 year. The House Oversight Committee is investigating financial disclosures tied to investment companies owned by her husband, and the numbers are crazy. Her husband's venture capital firm, Rose Lake Capital, was valued at $1,000 in 2023. 1 year later, in 2024, the valuation jumped to $25 million. That's a 25,000% increase in 1 year.
Also in 2023, the California winery was valued at $50,000. By 2024, the valuation increased to $5 million.
That is a 10,000% increase in just 1 year for a winery. Now, I am no financial expert, but I know businesses do not increase value by 10,000 to 25,000% in just a single year unless something very, very unusual will happen. What makes this even more interesting, the investigation into Ilhan Omar, didn't start with Trump. It started under Biden, the Joey B administration.
Justice Department initiated an investigation into Congresswoman Omar during the Biden administration in June of 2024 over her, quote, finances, campaign spending, and interactions with a foreign citizen.
That is an absolute bombshell, but obviously the investigation stalled.
House financial disclosure showed it was worth up to $25 million just 2 years later.
Her husband's investment firm had only $4,244 in its bank account as of 2022. 2 years later, House financial disclosures shows it was worth up to $25 million. Where did that money come from?
Same thing with a winery and marijuana farm that he has since abandoned. It also went from less than $1,000 in valuation to $5 million in less than a year.
The House Oversight Committee is now weighing in whether to subpoena Omar and her husband to testify about the business ventures. They want to know if there's a connection between the massive multi-million-dollar fraud scandal in Minneapolis and her family's sudden wealth. So let me ask you this, chat. What are the odds that just as of all these investigations are heating up, just as Trump announces he's sending home into Minnesota to investigate fraud, just as the House Oversight Committee is preparing subpoenas, someone random attacks Ilhan Omar at a town hall.
In Minneapolis, police arrested the man in that video and booked him into the jail for third-degree assault.
But nobody knows what he sprayed on her. Nobody's saying if it was dangerous. Nobody's explaining how he got close to her, any camera footage, nothing. And now the media narrative shifts from Ilhan Omar under investigation for mysterious $44 million fortune to Ilhan Omar, the Somalian congresswoman attacked at town hall. It's Trump's fault.
Some great people come in. They have to show that they can love our country. They have to be proud. Not like Ilhan Omar.
Trump just gave a speech in Iowa where he went after Ilhan Omar pretty hard, talking about her leaving Somalia with nothing and now being worth millions and millions of dollars. Questions where the money came from, and seemingly the same day she gets attacked at a town hall. Of course, the lamestream media will frame this as an attack on Somalians. Of course, they'll blame Trump's rhetoric. Of course, they'll use this to deflect from the financial investigations. It's the same tired, dusty playbook that they always use. Now let me connect the dots between Omar's mysterious wealth and the massive fraud happening in Minnesota.
Massive $20 billion plus welfare fraud that has taken place in Minnesota and is at least partially responsible for the violent organized protests going on in the streets.
Trump said there's a major investigation into the massive $20 billion plus welfare fraud that has taken place in Minnesota. And it's at and around these areas where these protests and things are happening in Minneapolis and Minnesota. He's connecting Ilhan Omar to this fraud network. Minnesota has become the fraud capital of America. It is actually official. Billions of taxpayer money stolen through fraudulent programs. And Ilhan Omar represents the district where most of the fraud is happening. Her constituents are the ones running the schemes.
Anytime that you mix what I would say is working with a foreign national, funds where we don't necessarily know their whereabouts, there are going to be national security concerns.
Omar has access to classified information. She has security clearance. She sits on committees that deal with sensitive national security matters. If she's taken money from foreign sources or using her position to enrich herself, that's not just corruption. That is a national security threat. I did a full deep dive on the money trail in a previous video. The link for that will be somewhere above. We break down every business, every valuation jump, every suspicious transaction. Check it out after this video because it goes way deeper than what I can cover here. America, here's what you need to understand. Just as the DOJ investigates Ilhan Omar's mysterious $44 million fortune, just as Trump orders investigations into Minnesota's $20 billion fraud scheme, just as the House Oversight Committee prepares for subpoenas for her and her husband, she gets attacked at a town hall. Her husband's companies went from being worth $5,000 to being worth $30 million in just 2 years. Nobody can explain where the money came from. And instead of answering questions about her finances, instead of explaining these suspicious valuations, instead of cooperating with investigations, we're now talking about her being a survivor of an attack where somebody sprayed her with an unknown substance and she immediately went back to giving a speech. The timing here is absolutely too perfect. The response seems too rehearsed, and the media coverage is way too coordinated. This, my friends, is a distraction from the real story. A sitting member of Congress who left Somalia with nothing is now worth $44 million while representing a district that has become the fraud capital of America. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.